Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the Imperfect Ashlers Masonic Podcast. All the views and opinions stated on this show are strictly those of the host and their guests and do not reflect the opinions of any Masonic Lodge or Grand Lodge.
What's up, y'all? We are the Imperfect Ashlers. We're back for episode number 13, and we have video now.
This is us.
We did some tests and ran through. Hopefully, we're going to sound all right. I'm going to keep the headphones on today just to make sure. But we are back finally.
Right.
What have you had? Anything major going on at
Well,
Valley?
we actually had a podcast and we decided not to
Yeah,
to use it,
was
right?
kind of a little bit of a political.
It probably wasn't a good thing. So we, in our wisdom,
we'll call that a test run.
If I use that wisdom word loosely, we decided not to use it. But
yeah, we are back.
What's been going on with you?
Degrees.
Yeah, that's good.
Got Brother Jeremy coming through, getting him raised. I don't even know. Have we done a podcast since he got initiated?
We have.
Okay. Yeah, we did. We're getting him raised up in about.
Didn't we do a podcast after he became an EA?
I think so. I believe we've done.
I'm sure we have.
Anyway,
okay. Memory.
Yeah, we're all both of us work today, so it's a little bit rough on the head, but yeah, we're getting him raised up. We've got another EA that's going to be coming in to Ben Jacobs, and
we have one at.
Hopefully, if we come in,
we have one at Coots Valley 929. That's going to be. I want to say, 14th.
EA. Okay.
We have an EA. We're going to eat at 6, and we'll be doing the work at 7. So anybody out there listening, you are welcome to join us. Coots Valley 929.
Yeah, we're gonna try to bring us a group. Then I'm gonna mention that this upcoming Thursday and see if we can't at least get a few of us to come. I know
that'd be nice.
Ron's been wanting to come down there.
And for me, I think it's always good to have. As many people, it seems like people want to show up for the Master Mason raisings, and I understand that, but for a new initiate, you need that good impression.
I would agree with that 100%. Definitely. I mean, that's showing off, what Masonry is. I mean, definitely, I would definitely suggest trying to get as many folks as you can. And now I know it doesn't take as many people to do the degree, but just having the people there is
just to be there.
Well, other than that,
support.
Definitely traveling man. Other than that, y'all had anything major going on? I know y'all have the.
No, we've got the bass tournament coming up. And what can you see the date over there? I want to say it's November the 6th, but I'm not exactly sure. Hold on one second.
I can look it up. Tommy just posted it the other day.
Yeah, I should be able to. I'm on Facebook now.
Y'all don't go look him up. He don't need too many friends.
Oh, man, it'd be okay. If I don't know you, I probably won't friend you.
Let's see. Oh, no, he posted it. That's not even used. Yeah, I believe. There's the save the date, Coots Valley's. There it is. I got it right here. November 2nd.
November the 2nd.
Yep, November 2nd on Lay Lake. It's going to be at the Beeswax Public Boat Launch from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.
So I think it's $2,000 guaranteed pot. Is it
$2,000 guaranteed? Entry fee is $100 a boat. I don't know what most of that means.
And all proceeds from this will be going to, scholarships.
Yeah.
And currently we have Sylacauga, Childersburg, and Winterburg. Maybe B.B. Comer are in our area. I'm not sure if Fayetteville is. Possibly Fayetteville are the schools that those kids that are in, seniors or juniors even can apply for that scholarship. But it's done really good. And this past year we gave out eight scholarships.
And they were what, $500?
$500. And I think out of those we had one young lady that received the matching funds from
$1,000.
She got $1,000.
That's awesome. I know We did it a couple of years ago at Ben Jacobs, and I think we gave out two $1,000.
That's
The
awesome.
funds came directly out of our pocket.
We need to get a bass tournament started.
Need to get something going. Definitely. And it's it's never too early to start planning for that. And I think a bass tournament would do good around here too. So
we've got a big old lake to run one with, right?
We might start looking into something like that. It doesn't have to be a bass tournament. Something though needs to. I want to get a little bit more out there.
I want to give a couple of shout outs before we really get started. And I think this is just really good for Masonry in the state of Alabama when two of our brothers, and I'm going to mention their names here, brother Jim McGee and brother Robert Elsner, have received posts, offices, and brother Jim McGee is now the Right Eminent Grand Captain General for the commandery, and brother Elsner is the assistant. It's the Right Eminent Assistant Grand Prelate,
also commandery.
But that's not for the state of Alabama. That's
Grand Encampment.
Yes, that's for Grand Encampment right there. And that is
at the national level.
They are at the national level, and for two brothers like that to be pulled out of Alabama, I think that says a lot. Yeah. First of all, about those men, and second of all, about Alabama Masonry.
Yeah, I agree. Both of them, I love both of them to death. Very good gentlemen, and they are what a Mason should be. They are about some of the best Masons that I've met in our state.
They work. Those men work. They work. And I tell you what, I've got to get to work on Brother Elsner's chaplain program. I've been enlisted in that thing for quite some time, but because of work, running this business and everything else, lodge meetings and family and all that stuff, sometimes I just don't have the time. But I'm going to take time and I'm going to start the chaplain program.
I've looked at trying to do that. I've got the book on Amazon in my car, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on doing it. But I've heard a lot of people talk about that program and heard it's a really good program. So I might do that with you.
Yeah,
once you get started.
Let's do it. I think I'm going to start here. Well, I'm not going to think. I'm just going to start this thing in the next week or so. Get on with it. I think there's 12 different parts, and there are assignments that you have to turn in. It's not just going through the motions. There is work that you have to do, which I like that. Yeah. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to get involved with it and looking forward to it. Hopefully, within the very near future.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, that being said, I'm just going to jump right into what we were going to talk about because of just time constraints mainly. But one of the things that Ben and I both have been, I didn't even introduce this at the beginning of the podcast. I guess
I'm Brother Ben. This is Brother Zach right here. Yep. And we are the Imperfect Dashlers, and we're glad to be with y'all today. We love each and every one of y'all, and we hope that you'll tell a brother about us.
Yeah.
Keep listening. If you have any critiques, let us know.
Definitely. Like we've said before, we do this just for the love of the craft, the love of Freemasonry. And, now we're trying new things with the video. And like we've said before, we may lose followers because we're so ugly, but
that'd be okay.
That's at the time.
We may gain some followers because we're so ugly.
But we have been talking about some things really between us, but about some etiquette things that we've noticed in the lodge and stuff.
Masonic
so we wanted
etiquette.
To kind of go over some Masonic etiquette today and it just kind of banter about it and see what we think. I think we're going to agree on most of it, but
and maybe we won't ruffle too many feathers.
Yeah, I hope not.
Be like that last podcast that we didn't post. We decided it might ruffle too many feathers, and we just, decided to put that aside. But hopefully, this is something that's necessary in lodges.
Yeah. It's really not found as much. Some of the parts aren't found as much in a lot of Alabama lodges. When it comes to how casual we are, I feel like, I've been looking at some other podcasts and talked to some brothers from out of state and stuff, and 9 out of 10, maybe not quite that much, maybe 7 out of 10, but most of them wear suits to lodge. That's one thing we don't do. This is, what I've got on's a typical what I might wear to lodge here, and I've got on a Columbia fishing shirt tucked into some nice
I've got a V-neck
pants.
T-shirt on. I'm sorry I didn't dress for the part.
Yeah.
It's okay though.
But that's it's something that I think could be brought to light to. I mean, it may not change things, but it may bring awareness to folks that may not have the idea about what Masonic etiquette is.
And the problem arises. There's no book or really no literature or anything
Right.
like that you can give to an EA to say, hey, maybe these are some things that you ought to do.
Right. There's no written
Right.
or anything.
It's until somebody like Brother Pat says, "Hey, you're not supposed to be doing that." You don't know.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you learn kind of trial by error, which I think that it would probably be better if we had,
At least maybe something. I was told that your mentor is supposed to teach you this thing. So with Jeremy, who I've been teaching, I've been trying to teach him these things, a little bit at a time. I told him, if you've got to come from work, we understand that you might be greasy and everything, but try to be presentable. Number one rule, like anybody would tell you, don't pass in front of the master in the altar when lodge is open. I learned that one the hard way.
The light should never be obscure, not even for just a fraction of a second.
Exactly.
That light should always illuminate to the east from the altar, from the east to the altar.
And it is kind of right now, at least here in Alabama, it's on the mentor. Everything is on the mentor. What you're going to teach that new EA or whatever degree he is at the time, and that might be something that some lodges may have to start having a class on. Really, I mean,
might be a good class for our lives.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because some of these things we're going to touch on definitely happen in our lives.
We're very slack and relaxed on a lot of the rules, and even though they are unwritten rules most of the time, one of the big ones, like I said, that we don't really do, and that is through the whole state, is a dress code. I mean, our bylaws have no dress code in them. It's just understood that we're going to wear a shirt that has sleeves, long pants, and closed-toed shoes. That's
fully dressed.
Yeah.
And we had a guy a while back, and I know you remember, but he showed up to lodge. His shirt was buttoned down to here, necklaces showing, bracelets all on, pair of shorts and flip flops. And I'm sorry, but that's not the way to walk up in the lodge.
That's not appropriate.
That's not appropriate.
I would say even if you're just coming to visit, coming to eat dinner with us or whatever, I would still, unless you're just passing through on the way to the beach or something, and in that case, just be like, hey, I'm on my way to vacation. I just came to say hey to y'all. We'll see you later.
And if this was 20 years ago, I would say dress like you dress when you're going to church. Yeah. But now, if you've been to church lately, then you some of these people love to dress down for church, and I don't see the
and that's
the reason for that.
I've listened.
I don't see the reason for dressing down at lodge either.
Right. And that's, the more I looked at it, in a way, our lodge is, excuse me, I'm sorry, I've got a dry throat. But our lodge is a lodge that is built in a way to honor God. So it's in a way, I won't call it God's house because it's not the church, but God's welcome there. Being Christian, we would say that the Spirit of God is with us when we're doing the work, but, that's something that needs to have honor to it. And
that's one of the reasons I enjoy the York bodies so much is people have a tendency to dress better for those lodge meetings.
At least a nice button up. If not, 99% of them wear suits.
A lot of times, especially for the commandery.
Right. And it's just out of respect for the craft, for masonry, for God in a way. And that's, when I go to church, I dress up still. It may not be a suit, but I'm going to look nice. I'm going to at least dress proper, I guess you could say.
What? Getting off of getting off of the dressing for a second, but because this thought came to my mind, and if I don't say something about it, I'll forget it. and it kind of goes with dress and everything. It's your appearance is and it's something I'm guilty of. So the reason I'm talking about this is I've done this in lodge, and I'm going to try to correct it. Slouching,
Yes.
correct posture in lodge.
That was one of the things I looked up today too.
And sometimes when I'm just going to be honest, a lot of times at lodge, I'm a landscaper. I run a company, and I'm my hardest worker.
Yeah.
And by the time I get to lodge, I'm tuckered out, and it's easy for me to stretch out and stretch my legs. But
Right.
I'm
guilty of it.
I'm guilty.
I am.
And there's something I'm going to work on. When I went to the it's Revival Lodge, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Observant Lodge. The times that I visited Revival Lodge, that was one thing that kind of struck me as like before Lodge, how those guys were sitting upright, arms folded, and everybody's at attention and everything, and nobody was all slouched out and everything. And I just, it's something I need to work on.
I do too.
Guilty.
I'm right there with you. And that, I mean, it kind of goes with not so much with the dress code, but that's something personally that someone can work on.
It's appearance.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was getting to.
Comb
I
your
just
hair.
didn't know the word.
Comb your hair, brush your teeth, put on some good clothes, and see us at Lodge.
I need a haircut myself, but
I wish I had that hair. Hey, look at this hair. I wish I had that. That'd be good.
Another one that I it's a pet peeve of mine, and just an annoyance in general. Talking out of line, whatever you want to call it.
Even whispering.
Yes,
even whispering.
Walking on the sidelines, especially. I mean, I don't like
during
business, but especially during degree work or in practice, because in practice, that's when people are actually trying to learn.
Or what about over talking the master?
Oh Lord, yes, that's a big one too, and that's not just coming from me saying that I'm a master, but yes, I agree with that. If the master is the one that's over the lodge, and their voice is the one that is going to be heard in the end anyway. But when you're and this is just a personal experience, but when you're trying to do something and someone stands up and says, "Oh, well, by the way, one, you got to wait your turn," which I would do if I was on the sidelines. I would, raise my hand or stand. Standing is the proper thing to do. Stand, wait your turn, and say your piece. And if the master doesn't like it, he can go on about his business. But talking over, and it doesn't have to be the master. Talking over another brother in general is disrespectful.
And and that's another thing I have been guilty of in lodge.
Thing.
And it's these are it's something I try not to do, but typically, I'd say 100% of the time, I typically don't start a conversation with somebody, but somebody will lean over and whisper something to me. And out of courtesy and not being rude, I feel compelled to give them an answer. But in reality, what I should do is just give them a finger to the lips and be like, hey,
Yeah. Well, and as the master, if I notice that, I should be rapping the gavel or saying, hey, quiet now.
You want me to start reminding you?
If you want to.
Man, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And talking about that, and again, the personal experience, and I won't say any names, anything like that, but
please don't.
Bringing up an idea, and it immediately, the first thing you do is, hey, I'm going to shoot that down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I've got, something I'm bringing up and, there's a reason that it couldn't happen, I'm bringing it up for a reason, not saying that, okay, well, if I didn't know that, cool, I know that now. But if not, don't just keep trying to shoot it down. Let me explain myself, or let the brother explain himself.
And probably every lodge out there has that one brother.
Yeah.
That's going to disagree.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a lodge out there that doesn't, but some people just have that disagreeable spirit about them, and it don't matter if it's going to fill the coffers up with gold, they'll shoot it down.
Yeah. And I mean, every point that person makes is not always a bad thing. be a good point. But it's the same thing. Just be respectful about it. Don't just stand up and go, "Hey, I'm going to shoot your idea."
Right.
But that and talking on the sidelines during degree, that's disrespectful not only to the lodge but to the candidate too. That you want that candidate. They're only going to go through it one time.
That's right.
As a candidate, and
You want it to be solemn.
Exactly.
It needs to be a solemn
best
initiation. There doesn't need to be any laughter. Right. There doesn't need to be any shuffling around. There doesn't need to be any talking. Right. It needs to be. I mean, this is something that we treasure. This is something that we value as Masons. And I know when I was initiated, passed, and raised, I didn't hear all that.
Right.
And
even third degree, there's times when there's supposed to be silence, and it's supposed to be silent. And a lot of times you can hear folks doing that right in the background, and shuffling around. The shuffling around I kind of get, but
here's the other law of etiquette. Turn your phone in the vibrate or do not disturb mode.
Yes.
It is an annoyance to hear the Crimson Tide start playing in the middle of a degree. We don't, or Auburn. It don't matter who it is. We don't want to hear your fight song during the middle of a degree or during lodge business.
Yeah. Even the little dings.
Yeah, ding, ding. Yeah, I last time that we recorded, and I'm glad that you threw it away because I didn't have mine, and it dinged a couple of times.
I didn't notice that.
You did. You did. And this time I've got it. Dialed.
Yeah. And that was,
it's just a respect thing. These are things that, a lot of times we talk about this stuff and it's like, man, it's just common sense.
Right.
And as Masons, we need to use our common sense, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, bless them.
And then some, our wisdom, our common sense.
That's why we became Masons, to learn.
Yeah.
Get that light.
Yeah, we're working on these ash flowers, and we're not perfect yet, but we want to strive to be, as for me, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Christ. I want to strive to be as much like Christ as I can in this life. Mm-hmm. Daily, I fall short of that astronomically, but the reality is I still should strive. And, and that's why
we're imperfect, though.
I'm sure Christ had impeccable manners.
Right.
Other than when he went in the temple and started getting over tables, chasing people around with a horse wheel. But he was justified.
He was proven a point.
Okay, I'm off of religion. Let's get back on the Masonry.
Yeah, and that's something too that I didn't put it in my notes, but I can bring it up. We are a group of different religions, and we may have brothers that don't agree with
or Jewish or Muslim or whatever,
and we may not all agree, and that's why we don't speak on religion or politics in the lodge.
We can talk about God in prayer and things like that, but we don't want to get into dogma or what's the word I'm trying to say? Anyway,
like the specifics of religion.
Yeah, we don't want to get into all that doctrine, dogma.
We believe in
things like
God,
that.
And whatever you may call your God. That's
you can believe in him and I'll believe in mine, and I'm cool with you believing in yours, and I hope you're cool with me believing in mine, right?
Exactly. And that's,
and we can still be brothers and do that. Exactly. There's a great divide in this country between Christians and non-Christians. And how in the world do you bridge that gap when there's that divide? Everything's either left or right, Democrat, Republican, white or black. It's everything's so separated now. It's, as Christians, we should be trying to bridge that gap. And that's me.
Okay. I can agree.
For me, I have Jewish customers. I have customers with alternative lifestyles. Mm-hmm. I have customers that, that probably don't even believe in God, but you know what? I'm still going to serve them.
Right.
I'm still going to do the best job that I can for those people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my duty as a man, as a Christian, as a Mason, to do that.
Right.
Anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
I was going to say that's a good marketing. We'll put you as a sponsor on here for marketing. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I mean, we're going to treat it. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Christian, Jewish. I don't know what all other religions we have in the fraternity, but you come in my lodge, I'm gonna treat you like my brother. I mean, if you're an atheist and you want to come eat dinner with us, come on. I'm okay with that. We just can't let you join. But and that goes into the etiquette of I'm not going to worry about what religion you are because we're both Masons. Obviously, we both believe in a God that created the world somehow, and
somehow he spoke it into existence.
Yeah, you know what I mean, though.
In the beginning,
yeah.
God created the heaven and the earth.
But that's I'm going to trust you because you took the same obligation I took, and obviously we've got similar moral compasses. So
that's right.
I'm going to treat you like my brother.
That's what binds us as brothers.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't have any other way. We probably wouldn't be sitting here having this podcast if we did.
You're right. You're right. Going back to the dressing thing, that's you talk about the old timey, like not old timey, but the old ways of doing things and dressing up, going to church. That's at least I've started seeing more kids coming in, which is good, coming into church and everything, getting saved. And most of them, they dress decent. I would say they dress all right. I mean, yeah, you occasionally have the girl that wears a short
I'm
skirt
not
or whatever.
going to call any names, but my old church, some of the women and young girls that I saw walking into that place should have been ashamed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it made me raise my eyebrows, made my wife raise her eyebrows, and it's like, we're going to church, not a bar.
Yeah.
It was in the Kenny Chesney concert.
Exactly.
And let's dress appropriate, and the same goes for lodge.
Mm-hmm. And they may call it their Sunday best. I don't know what they're thinking. I have no clue.
And
but most of the ones I see coming in now are pretty decently dressed.
Here's the thing,
where I go to church,
and some people may think this is just nitpicking, but wear some good shoes.
Yeah.
Don't put a pair of dirty old tennis shoes on and walk up in the lodge. Wear some decent shoes.
Yeah. Keeps us from having to vacuum on times. But yeah, no, I'm right there, especially if you're going to be doing the work.
I wish we had a dress code. I wish we had a dress code, but I know it would never fly.
No, I'm right there with you. And everybody says be the change you want to see. Everybody says be the change you want to see. The times I've worn
Thursday night, we're in suits.
Okay, all right. And actually, for our third degree, I've requested that everybody at least wear a tie. To me, that should be a minimum. At least a button up.
I'll definitely wear a suit for that. I think a suit is appropriate for a raising.
Oh yeah, definitely. And anybody that wants to come, it's going to be October 26th. As of right now, is our date. We're going to eat breakfast at 8. Sorry, my voice is cracking. I sound like I'm hitting puberty again.
No boy.
We're going to eat breakfast at 8, and we're going to do the work after. We do have a great breakfast crew.
Yes, we do.
I would beg to differ. I'm not beg to differ, but what do you call that? Argue. I would argue that's some of the best homemade breakfast you can get in Masonic Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll eat breakfast about 8 o'clock. Come, but we'll start cooking about 6. So you're more than welcome to come fellowship with us.
I think Alvin needs to start him a restaurant.
Oh yeah, I bet that
Alvin's Family Diner.
Yeah,
he can cook.
Between him and Barney and Charlie doing the baking over there, we have got a great crew, and hopefully we'll have a good turnout and a good degree. We've been practicing a little bit, and we have people too that are willing to practice. But and that's something too. Talking about if the master decides, hey, we need to practice this third degree stuff, we need to practice. I mean, there's not going to be anybody that knows everything perfect unless you get, Dennis Berry or somebody coming down. But even then, I mean, I'm sure he'll be the first to tell you he makes mistakes. So we definitely need the practice. So if you want to come practice with us Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, we're going to be doing some Master Mason practice.
That's awesome.
But finishing up, like I said, with the etiquette stuff, it's not that hard. Dress decent, which I feel like most of our folks do. We don't all wear suits and stuff, but normally everybody at least is clean and looks presentable. We could probably deal with throwing a few polos on or button up or something like that. Just
here's the thing that and probably doesn't fall under lodge etiquette, but like when you visit a lodge, be friendly. That's our thing. Friendship, morality, and brotherly love. Don't just stand around like you don't know anybody.
That's the point of travel.
That's right. People. Me, typically, I walk up in a lodge. I like to go up to the older gentleman and introduce myself and talk to them, and be friendly. Don't just sit there, with your poker face on like I don't know anybody. But present yourself.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. That's a good
that's
thing.
Something that I've been talking to Jeremy about that some, and he's excited to start traveling, and I like that about him. And he's one of those. When he comes into our lodge, the first thing he does is start shaking hands, and I've noticed that about him. And the same with the guy we are potentially going to be initiating coming up too. He comes in, and that's the first thing he does is start shaking everybody's hand.
That's
right. I can't preach on that enough. Every time I could go to any lodge in our county right now, and as soon as I walk in, somebody's going to know me because that's how I do. I start shaking hands and start talking to brothers and let them know who I am, and I make sure I know who they are. And I would agree that is kind of a courteous thing. I mean, just to go in there and at least let them know who you are. And, if you do that enough, you can go in and you don't have to be examined and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but,
is this one that you would agree with? Do you think that, before speaking in lodge, should you stand? I've read that
I have to, and I wouldn't just say stand. I would say that's the proper thing to do. Or, like we're in school, raise your hand. And once you're acknowledged, then that's when I would say you're good to start speaking, is when you're acknowledged. And that goes back to that looking at a turn type thing. If you've got something to say, obviously you want the master to be able to hear you. So you want to be acknowledged once, and then start talking.
That makes sense.
But like I said, it's not that hard. Don't talk, dress nice.
Act like you're in church. I know it's not church, and I don't want anybody to hear this say, "Oh, those Masons are comparing their lives to church," which really it is a temple to the grand architect of the universe.
Yeah,
but just act like you're in church.
Yeah,
or act like you're in a place that commands respect. I mean, dress well. I would say, clean yourself up. Don't come in there stinking unless you come straight in from work. Wear some decent shoes. All these things that does, and these are things that we like to do. I know you like to dress up as well. I like to dress up.
In fact, I need to go get my suit strapped.
Right.
And talking about that going to Grand Lodge, I know most of the Masons there are going to be wearing suits for
absolutely
business.
That's the way it should be.
Oh, I agree.
Not just for Grand Lodge, for all lodge.
And like you've been to Revival to an observant lodge, they not only do they do suits, they do tuxes.
Now I will say this:
that I bet is beautiful.
I will say this: I know it's not a suit, and I know it's kind of country. But I do like the brothers that wear their overalls.
Yeah.
And I've got some overalls, and I've been tempted to go to show up at Lineville with my overalls on, and I like the overalls. Maybe you just sport a tie.
Well, I was going to say, you can dress them up, get one of those bolo ties like Brother Jay wears, and just throw you on a button up under it, throw on a bolo tie. I would do that with you.
Yeah.
We might could start us a little redneck degree team.
Next great team. Speaking of which, I haven't gotten a ticket yet, but I do want to go to the Indian degree.
Yes,
It's Oklahoma Indians.
Oklahoma Indian degree.
Yeah, I
Yes,
want to go to
they'll
that.
be
Don't
in.
let me forget to get with Brother Zach Griffin and
They'll be at Losahatchee in Piedmont, Alabama, December 7th. And they've got tickets on sale. If anybody, may want to go, if I'm going to try to get this posted tonight. And that's actually 2 months from today, believe it or not. But if anybody would like to go to that, I don't know how much the tickets are, but if you want to get in touch with us, we'll be happy to get you in touch with the folks that are selling them, and they can tell you how much. And I know it comes with, can't remember if it's breakfast. I believe it's a dinner. I think it's a some kind of dinner. I don't remember what they're having, but I'm sure it'll be good food, and I'm sure it'll be a good time. And I'd like to try to go to that myself and see that. I know they've got a lot of those different degree teams that are out there, and I'd like to start watching some of those.
I'm looking at some of these Masonic etiquette points, and this one kind of goes with something you mentioned earlier. It's all prayers at lodge functions are non-sectarian.
I'll agree with that and disagree because um, when you're the chaplain, you
pray however you
go
want
to that altar and you pray to your God. You pray to who you believe in, and no matter if a Jewish man goes up there and doesn't say in Jesus' name, we're excuse me, when we finish the prayer and we say our agreement to it, we're not agreeing with who he's praying to. We're agreeing with what he prayed. So I kind of agree and disagree with that a little bit, but
I've heard as a chaplain you pray to like you would at church to your God.
Yeah, to your God. And that is what, and I don't know if it's just our jurisdiction or what. I might look into that. But that is how it goes in the state of Alabama. As you,
I know that I was talking about Brother Robert Elsner's chaplain. It's not, it's the chaplain program, and I did actually, I did kind of open the book and get started in that thing, and I've got to find that book as a matter of fact. Oh, bless me! But to get back on the program, but one of the things that it was talking about as chaplain is you may be called to, as a Christian chaplain or as a Masonic Christian chaplain, you may be called to minister to a Hindu, a Muslim.
Yeah.
And at that point, you start, praying, the way we do at the altar as Christians, they might take offense. And, in that situation, you would have to use some type of, I don't know, I wouldn't say control necessary, but some manners to be careful not to offend another person. That makes sense. I know we're, all this, we're really bad on this cancel culture and offensiveness, and everybody's got their feelings on their shoulder and everything. But still, I'm just saying, usually when a chaplain's called in, they're going to be dealing with people that are, going through grief, sorrow, anger, things that they don't want to also have to deal with the issue of God on top of that. Yeah. It makes sense.
I could see being in that situation and how it would be. What's the word? Off-putting, maybe.
Yeah,
just uncomfortable.
Now, a good old Baptist preacher tell you it's a good time to get them saved.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's a good time to minister in a way, yes, but at the same time, I mean, the service you're doing for that person, I won't even say that brother, but that person, is you're taking your requests to your God. And, that's the only way I know how to put that is, if I don't believe what they believe, I can still pray to my God for them. I mean, whether they're
and I think when we pray in God's name, I think we cover that.
I believe so
I
too.
think so. But, in God's name, I think that we cover that.
And it goes back to we're all on the level. I mean, yeah, we may not believe what a Hindu or Jewish man or anything like that, but it's not that we're disagreeing with. I guess we would disagree with their theology, but it goes back to not discussing religion. We're in a way we're praying to the same God to an extent. I mean, we may call him something different, but in the end, he's to us the great architect of the universe, which, I mean, God created the heaven and the earth.
That's right.
So,
I think too, when we talk about, you were talking about on the level, and being on the level that, and I think I just lost my train of thought, is that I know that in Lodge, we're all equal. Okay, obviously the worshipful master holds a higher position, and the wardens hold a higher position. We have a lodge hierarchy, I guess you would say. But, and this gets back to etiquette. There's some men in our, and you know what I'm saying. There are men, and I'll mention a couple of them. From Ben M. Jacobs, like Brother Bill and Brother Pat. Brother Jay, some of these men that have been around for a long time, and I feel that the older torch carriers, people that carried the torch earlier than we were around, I think those guys deserve the utmost respect.
Oh, definitely.
And I try to give it to them every time I can. I hate to see somebody just kind of diss them off,
and not
just like, oh, that's just
I mean, that's
man,
just, yeah, just in general. I believe in that.
It's common sense, right?
It doesn't have to be
do that to all.
Yeah,
elderly people and people that
we're calling Bill and Jay, and we're calling them elderly.
Elderly, it's okay.
But yeah, I agree with you. And that's somebody that's been in the lodge a lot longer. I mean,
yeah, you start looking at these people that are 50 years in lodge, 75. Somebody was talking the other day about somebody got a 75-year pin. I'm like, those guys, they've got to command. They need the respect.
Yeah, I'm 36, and I've been in the lodge for like 14 years or something. I spent some time inactive because I went suspended, but there's a lot of people that are younger than me that have the knowledge in the lodge, and I respect that.
That's right.
I respect that of them. They wanted to learn it.
Look at Zach Griffin.
Exactly. He's.
I mean, he's spot on a lot of this stuff.
Exactly, and
I told him he's got to teach me.
Yeah, shoot, he can teach us a lot.
That's right.
I've got a lot of respect for him. I love Brother Zach, and I'd do anything for him, and he'd do anything for us. And that's, it's not just the fact that he's learning the stuff. He is taking these lessons and these working tools to heart and truly using them, not just in lodge, outside of lodge too.
So last week, not last week, but the last podcast we did was kind of a touchy subject, and we decided to kind of just stick it, put it on the back burner for now. We may pick it back up in the future. This one hasn't been the easiest, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and there's going to be issues everywhere, and there may be people that feel called out, and we're not trying to do that. We're trying to educate. And I'm glad you said that.
These are all things. Hey, I have walked in front of the altar. That's how I found out you're not supposed to walk in front of the altar. Somebody said, "Hey, you're walking in front of the altar." I've done that. I've slouched in lodge.
Mm-hmm.
I have shown up to lodge underdressed. I've worn a pair of tennis shoes to lodge. There's nothing wrong wearing tennis shoes to lodge. But me personally, I like to wear some dress shoes.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of these things. I have taught during lodge.
Yeah.
We're not putting this out there to chastise people. It's educational for us as well as for anybody listening.
You said that, and I'm glad you said that because it made me think. I had a point earlier I was wanting to make. If you're not a Mason, we're not trying to scare you away from being a Mason either. This is not, we're not Nazi,
Masonic Nazis
grammar
we are.
police or something.
Lord, no.
No, not at all. It's just like you said, it's an education. We're wanting to and really discuss it amongst ourselves. This could give us ideas for our own lodges. It may um, motivate lodges to start dressing better and things like that. That's really the only reason we wanted to do it, is just to bring it out.
That's
to
right.
Let people know that it's there.
Proper protocol. And there's order. Okay.
Yeah.
And it gets back to order. And if you don't have order, chaos rules.
Yeah.
And you at some point you've got to lay some groundwork. I think it's a good thing. Maybe we should just have a little pamphlet or something that we give out to our new EAs. I don't know if that would be something we're able to do or not.
I'm sure we could do something. I mean,
just have a little Masonic education class teaching them about etiquette.
Maybe we should have Revival come.
Because I think that for me, I would have preferred somebody saying, "Hey, you don't need to walk in front of that altar when we're having." I would have preferred somebody to say that than when I walked in front of the lodge, like, "Hey, walking in front of that lodge right there."
I feel like the smallest person in the lodge.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're like, so it seems like to me, it just seems to me that there's easier ways to handle some of that.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe it would come down to like a class or something that we could do. Just a one night in lodge, have a class, and have maybe a district lecture or something like that come in and talk about it, or maybe even if we can find somebody that's written like a book about it or something, have them come and talk.
Maybe we should write a book.
That's not a bad idea.
There we go.
Maybe we could just formulate our own thing and put it out to the lodge. And
there's how many Masons are there in the United States?
United States, I don't know. I think it was 18,000 in Alabama.
18,000 in Alabama. It's not profitable. It's all about the profit. That's terrible. I'm joking.
You could always put something out for the lodge.
That's right.
Just something to better the craft. But who knows? We might could have an imperfect Ashlar's class going on before long.
Perfect Ashlar's Masonic education.
There you go. Who knows? It could happen. I'd love to start traveling and doing something like that too. But we're coming up on about 50 minutes. I think that's a good place to stop.
I want to wish Brother Paul Copriva a happy birthday.
Our wonderful
Secretary Ben Jacobs
done
an amazing job. We appreciate everything you do, Brother Paul.
And today is his birthday. He turned 77 today.
That's a good age.
Yeah.
Sevens. Yeah. That's God's number.
Retired. That's probably the best part.
Retired, yeah. Really.
I do want to wish him a happy birthday. Prayer request. You got anything?
Yeah.
You want to put out?
Pray for continue to pray for Ford Stewart and the loss of his wife, Carrie. It's just a tough time for anybody to lose their spouse, especially his daughter losing her mother. Let's be in prayer for them. Also, continue to pray for Brother Rusty Beck.
Yes.
I haven't really heard an update on him lately. Have you?
I haven't.
I need to find out.
If you haven't listened to any podcasts before, Brother Rusty Beck, he was our immediate past Grand Master, lost his wife to cancer and lost a son to a drowning incident. So he definitely, I know that's been a while ago.
He's been struggling with health issues and cancer. So let's be in prayer for him.
James Ferguson as well.
Brother James Ferguson.
Back chemo. He is.
As always, pray for my family, especially my son.
I'm sure we both definitely need.
I'll pray for yours. You pray for mine, brother. That's good teamwork. I love it.
I'll never reject prayer if somebody's willing to pray for me. So, anybody else you can think of right off?
I'm forgetting somebody, but we'll think of them later.
Any that we remember later, you put it down as that unspoken.
Let's pray mainly for this country the politicians that run this country.
Election time coming up.
We got an election coming, and some people say it's the most important election in the history of whatever, and it may be, but let's pray, regardless of whoever wins, whoever loses. Let's pray for the politicians, the people that lead this great country.
It never hurts to pray.
That's right.
It never hurts to pray. It doesn't matter what it's about.
Works.
Yep.
Yes, it does.
Well, that being said, we appreciate y'all listening again. Like I said, we just like to ramble on about Masonry.
We love it.
We're not doing this for profit, but if you would like to send us some money, we would definitely take it if it could use somewhere.
And hey, I am on Facebook now. You can find me at Benson Head.
Yep. He's on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Zachary Grice. I'm actually thinking about doing another podcast on under the Masonic Gent stuff. So if I do, I'll update you about it. But anyway, again, we appreciate y'all listening and are watching this time if you're on YouTube. But other than that, we love y'all and hope you have a wonderful day.
Good evening.